This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual Purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. DNFing books for any reasons have been authorized for use during the Purge. Books that are not in the included category for the video have been granted immunity at this time and shall not be purged. Commencing at the siren, any and all DNFing will be legal until the end of this video. Bookstores of any kind will be unavailable until the end of the video until the Purge concludes. Blessed by Barnes & Noble, indie bookstores, and all other booksellers, a nation reborn. May God be with you all. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be starting the Fairyloot Purge finally. I actually started this video a couple of different times. it's just a mess, okay? This has been an absolute mess. I started this vlog back in May right before I got really sick. My current new chronic illness problem, and I just never picked it back up. And originally I was going to have Lucas pick my TBR for this, but I think I need to do it in a more... I'm kind of picking my own books just because of how my reading is going right now. So I think why I haven't picked it up is because I was expecting getting picks that I wasn't excited about, and which is kind of the point of the Purge, but I think this way I have a little bit more control over it, and I think that's going to help me. So unfortunately, Lucas is not going to be in this video, but I promise I'll somehow incorporate him in another one. That being said, let's talk about what Fairyloot books we have to read, because we have a lot. Like, we have so many, and I actually have them ordered. I shouldn't have done this, but I did this a while ago. I have them ordered in highest to lowest rating on Goodreads, so that may adjust like how we look at these books, but we're gonna see. I'm gonna try to not let that affect how I'm looking at things. Also, my shelves are really dusty, so that's just a problem. I literally dusted them like 2 days ago. Let's look at the shelf. I was trying to think of how to do this. Okay, so here is some of the shelf of Fairyloot books. They've kind of just been incorporated onto, God, you can see the dust. They've kind of just been incorporated onto my main shelves so that I see them literally every day and I have to think about it and think about my shame. These are the lowest. I actually have this one turned in because I get migraines and I get aura migraines, and the design on City of Stardust, I think it's City of Stardust, has like an aura feel to it. So no matter what happens with this one, it is the lowest rated, but either way, I'm probably getting rid of this copy just because I can't physically look at it. But this is City of Stardust, Shanghai Immortal, Forged in Blood, Seven Faceless Saints, Cruel Illusions, The Darkening, The Gods Below. Those are the lowest rated. And then we kind of move into like middle ground books. If I Have to Be Haunted, Fire in the Sky, The Hurricane Wars, still got that one. Half King, Spice Road, The Ones We Burn, The Curse of Saints, The Night Ends with Fire, The Foxglove King, Swordcatcher, really not excited to read that one. Sing Me to Sleep, The Temptation of Magic, Long Live Evil, Spells for Forgetting. And this is kind of where they start like going up in rating. In the Lives of Puppets, This Vicious Grace. And then our final little stack is right here, and these are the highest rated ones. And that is The Stardust Thief, Darker by Four, Scarlet Alchemist, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, The God and the Gumiho, Just Bonesmith, and Sorcery and Small Magics. That is kind of what we're working with right now, and there's like a lot of things I'm really excited about. There's a lot of things I'm not excited about. So just looking at this, probably my most excited for a couple of them would be Spells for Forgetting, This Vicious Grace, Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, The God and the Gumiho, pretty much everything up there, pretty much everything on the highest rated ones I'm like very excited about. Least excited, probably Long Live Evil. I saw someone read that and they did not like it. Not excited about that one. I'm not very excited for the Fairyloot Romantasy picks, like the earlier Romantasy picks. They just weren't very good. A lot of people were not liking them. And then I'm really not excited for like the lowest two, Shanghai Immortal and City of Stardust. I've seen terrible things about those books, so not the most excited about that. However, I have the best track record with Fairyloot, so the hope is Fairyloot will be the best, and we will have the highest ratings, we will have the least amount of DNFs, because we're going to slowly work through this Purge project. I'm going to try and not DNF as much as possible. I still will. This is still the Purge. However, I really just want to take my time with these books, which is kind of the point of 2026, is taking my time. Taz is right here. Taking my time and figuring out why I'm DNFing books. Am I reading too quickly sometimes, etc. So that is what we're doing in 2026. We're going to be starting with this project. Yeah, let's get started. So how we're going to do the Fairyloot Purge, because every single series has had a theme. I think Illumicrate was just doing them in order of getting them, which was fun but scary. I think Alcrate, oh, Alcrate is bad. That was the one where we wrapped all the books. I learned, oh, I learned how much of a mistake that was, and I won't be doing that again for one of the Purge videos. I'm not doing it again in general. I'll probably end up doing it again next December, but it hasn't worked out great for the sequel video either. That's not a great idea, so we're not doing that. So I do want to make it different. So Fairyloot was supposed to be Lucas picking. I think we're going to do prompt cards, and it's really funny because these are Illumicrate prompt cards. So using Illumicrate for Fairyloot. I think we kind of did prompt cards for Alcrate at one point. I don't remember. I know I've used prompt cards in a video before, but we're going to use prompt cards, and some of them obviously are not going to necessarily work for the books, but we're gonna do our best. Like, I may fudge some of the like things to make them make sense. So I have kind of shuffled them, even though I don't really know why. Basically, we're just gonna pick a card and we're gonna try to match it as best as possible. If I'm not liking how it's matching, I can pick a new card and see if it matches better. So this is the deck. Like I said, shuffled it. I don't think it really matters, but we're just gonna pick right from the top. And this is obviously upside down. The oldest book on your shelf. I don't know what the oldest Fairyloot book is. I don't know what that is. Oh no. Oh, and I had it in that original order. Am I gonna have to look that up? That's so annoying. Ugh. If I were to guess, like, what I'm looking at, I legitimately don't know what the oldest one is. Oh, okay. Let me go get my computer and I will look up which the oldest Fairyloot that I have is. Okay, now that I have looked that up, it was close. There are actually a couple books that are pretty old on here, and I kind of, like, when I saw it, I was like, oh wait, that does make sense that is the oldest book. But there was actually 3 that were kind of all around each other, and that was, where are they? Stardust Thief, which is up there. The Darkening right here, and This Vicious Grace were 3 that were literally one after the other. So it's 3 that I haven't read yet. The oldest one, though, is The Stardust Thief. So we're going to be reading The Stardust Thief. So Stardust Thief, I'm really excited about this because this is very different than anything I'm reading right now. Very different. I think this sounds really good. It's one that I've been wanting to get to. It's on the pile of the ones that I'm most excited to read. So I'm kind of really excited about this. I don't know what it's about, and I don't even remember the designs. Oh my gosh. Back with the old school, like, no art design. We have that on there. And then let's see, what do these look like? It's just purple. It's just purple edges. And then, oh, this is beautiful artwork. That art on there. And then what is the back? Yeah, this looks so good. Okay, this is so exciting. This says The Stardust Thief is inspired by 1001 Nights, weaves the gripping tale of a legendary smuggler, a cowardly prince in a dangerous quest across the desert to find a magical lamp. Okay. Like, I just want this to just be like a fun young adult fantasy book. Like, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm kind of excited for this. I think this was like, when did this come out? 2022? 2023? I don't know if it's going to say 2022. That's a while. That is a long time. Oof. God, the dust coming off. That is a long time to be on the shelves. So, we're going to go read The Stardust Thief. I don't think it's going to take me long. I'm really excited about this pick. We have our very first update for the Fairyloot Purge, and I'm at 30% of the Stardust Thief. And I'm having some complicated feelings about this because it's one of those books where it's good. It's written well. It's mostly interesting, but there is nothing that's really dragging me back to this book wanting to read it. I think I've been reading this book for a week now and I'm still only 140 pages in, but I also don't really want to put it down. I'm pretty much just slowly making my way through this book. My biggest problem is that I don't like one of the main characters, but we're going to get to that. So The Stardust Thief is, I believe it's a retelling, yeah, inspired by stories from 1001 Nights. The Stardust Thief weaves the gripping tale, blah, blah, blah. So it's very Aladdin, but probably closer to like the original story. But as a kid, like, because I grew up on Aladdin in those movies, in my brain is going, Aladdin, it's Aladdin, it's Aladdin. Even though, again, we know it's from something else. So it's following primarily two main characters. There is a third perspective that is randomly thrown in there. I'm not sure why yet, but I am curious why that character is in here, because right now it doesn't seem like their perspective has a point, but I assume it's gonna have a point. But it's following our main character Mazin and our other main character Luli. I think Luli slash Layla. And Luli slash Layla is basically our Aladdin character, but there's like an added thing in there. So Luli is the, what is it, the magic merchant? Is that what it was called? I don't remember. But she is a merchant and she knows how to find these rare artifacts. That's kind of her whole thing, is going out and finding these rare artifacts, and she sells them, but she has a Jinn as a friend slash bodyguard, and Jinn are not legally allowed to be alive. So that is like a big contentious point in this book, because Jinn are seen as these bloodthirsty killing machines. On the other side, we have Mazin, who is basically our Jasmine character, and he is I think he's the second prince. He has been sneaking out to go to the market to see people, and the market, like, hear stories and see people, etc. So he does that all the time, and they end up meeting, and that's kind of what kicks the story off, and it's gonna go through similarities to Aladdin. Like, again, there's a lot of different things, but that is the gist of it if you've seen Aladdin and you don't know anything. Because I didn't know anything. Like, I don't know too much about 1001 Nights. There are some more things. Like, they have this Sherazade? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Where the woman tells the Sultan 1001 stories to stay alive. That's kind of mentioned in this as well. There's like a couple different stories that have been thrown in here. I would love to read 1001 Nights. I never thought about it before. I've always heard about it and like read retellings of stuff, but I've never thought about reading like the original text. So part of me kind of wants to do that. So that might be something I look into this year. But anyway, that's kind of just the gist of this one. And then you have a third perspective, Aisha, who is working for Mazin's brother. And that's all I'll say about her, because there's some complicated things going on there. And again, I don't know why her character is like super important to have their own perspective, but it's just like their story, and it's going to be a travel story because they're trying to find a lamp. And Luli gets roped into it. And so that's kind of just how the story is going. So like I said, I'm not really loving Mazin as a character. He reads very young and very inexperienced, very annoying, very whiny. And so I'm not loving his character, because I do think Mazin and Luli are supposed to have like a romance probably later in the book. But Mazin to me reads like a 12-year-old, and Luli reads to me like 17, 18. So it's just a little off-putting in that case. So when we're in Mazin's chapters, I don't really care that much. Love Luli's chapters. I'm really enjoying Luli's chapters. And I even like Aisha's chapters, even though, again, I don't know how it brings everything together. So the problem with this book is there's not a problem with it. Like, there's no actual problem with this book. The writing's good. The pacing is a little slow, but it's really not. There's just nothing that's making me want to pick it up. But when I do pick it up, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like, I'm having a good time. And I read through the chapter pretty fast, but then when I'm done a chapter, I kind of put it down and I wander off and go do something else. So it's just not keeping my attention, but it's not doing anything that's making me want to DNF it, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to continue reading it. I don't know where I'm going to fall with this book by the end, because right now it feels like a 3, just because this book kind of just exists. Like, it's not doing anything amazing, but it's not doing anything bad either. We are unfortunately going to DNF The Stardust Thief at about 30%. I think I'm at like 164 pages. I so did not want to DNF this one. I really didn't want to start with the DNF. I was kind of planning to read like everything that I picked in this video. Like, that was kind of my plan. That was my thought, because I'm already sick of DNFing stuff, even though I've like read 16 books and DNF'd 4. So it's really not even that bad, like, comparing that. But I'm just really bored. I'm really, really bored. And I really don't like Mazin as a character at all. Like, I don't want to read his chapters. My dislike for his character has gotten worse. And I think last time I updated you, I was actually at like 28%, and now I'm at like 33%. So I haven't gotten that much farther. It has taken me like another 3 days to read those 30 pages, and I have finished another book in the meantime. I think since the time that I picked this up, I've read at least 5 books, and I keep just picking up other things instead of reading this. It even got to, this is when I knew it was over. I knew it was over when the new Bridgerton came out today. This is how deep we are into January. I picked this up at like the beginning of January. So it's been like 30 days since I picked this up. Potentially longer. I may have read 10, no. If I picked up the beginning of January, I've read 16 books between the time I picked this up and now, and only read 165 pages. I think it's time to call it. There's nothing inherently wrong with this book. The idea behind it is really, really good. It's just, I'm bored. I'm so impossibly bored by this story, which is sad because I really love the first couple of chapters. It's just turned into a quest story, and I'm not a quest girly. So if it's not done exactly how my brain likes it done, because I don't like quests, I don't like travel stories, and this is turned into both, then I'm just like, I'm not gonna like it, and that's what's happened. But anyway, the new Bridgerton came out. I was bribing myself. I said, hey, watch 10 minutes of an episode, then read a chapter. Then you can watch 10 minutes of a Bridgerton episode, then you gotta read another chapter. No, we're not doing that. No, we're done. We're done. So unfortunately, I am DNFing The Stardust Thief. I think what really sealed the deal for me with DNFing this is the idea of reading a trilogy. No. I actually thought it was only a duology, but still, even reading just one more book, I was like, I don't want to do that. And I was actually really surprised. This came out in 2022. The second book came out last year, came out in 2025, and the third book, there's no even title for it. So not only has this been on my shelf for a really long time, I would have been waiting for forever to read the series, and I don't even know when the third one is coming out. So it's just like, there's a lot of stuff stacked against this book that even if I finish this somehow in like 4 months, I'm probably not going to want to continue it. So why finish this book? So I am DNFing it, and we're going to look at another prompt. Again, I'm being very loose with the prompts. Like, if there's something that I don't want to read, we're just going to try another prompt. I'm trying to be as nice to myself as possible in 2026 when it comes to reading and picking things. I know it's less fun for you guys, me not forcing myself to read things I don't want to read and actually having to pick based on prompts, but I do think overall the video will be better if I'm doing it this way. So we're going to look at the cards. Again, it's funny, we're using Illumicrate cards, which I think I just found Owlcrate ones the other day. I was cleaning my filming room. I think, yeah, oldest book is in the back, so we'll take that one out, and we'll kind of, well, I guess, I can't show anything. So I don't know the order. I'm just gonna pick a random one out of here. And this is a romantasy book. Okay, this actually works really well because I have some books from the romantasy subscription. Also, sorry about the quality of this. I don't have my light on or anything like that. I probably should have, but I was in a bad mood because I didn't want to DNF The Stardust Thief. Anyway, so we have a couple from the romantasy subscription before I did cancel it. I ran out of skips actually, which I'm really sad about because I'm back on the wait list. I've actually liked their picks better recently than when they were doing stuff at the beginning. So let's look at what we have from the romantasy category. I'm going to keep these separate. Yeah, we'll put those here, and this goes back up here. So I'm trying to see, let's raise you up a little bit. I gotta move these two. So I see already that we have Fire in the Sky. We have, I don't know if the Hurricane Wars was, but I do know this is romantasy. We have the Half King, which I know is in the romantasy subscription. So I definitely know these two, at least. Fire in the Sky and the Half King. I don't know if I recognize any others as 100% being from the romantasy subscription. I don't think any of those were. I got rid of a lot of them. I tried reading a lot of them, and I really didn't like a lot of them. So I think, I don't know. I feel like I've heard terrible things about the Half King. I haven't heard the best things about Fire in the Sky, but maybe, let's see. What are these two about? We could do a dragon book. I think dragons are pretty cool. I actually really like this edition of it. The sad part is if I do like this book, I do know the second book is impossible to find. That is my one problem, and that's why I'm trying to read my books as I get them, so I actually know which sequels that I want to get, so I don't accidentally miss a bunch of sequels. So this one I definitely missed. If I like this, there's no way I'm going to be able to get a second book. So kind of hope I don't like it, which is not the best way to go about it. I think this book is gorgeous. It's not the best way to go about things, but I'll be really sad if I can't get my hands on a second book if I like this. This is definitely dragons. Again, still haven't heard the best things about this one either. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about this. Raised in the glittering court alongside the princesses, it's her duty to be punished for their misdeeds. She's tasked with the ultimate sacrifice of pretending to be one of the true royal princesses, and Mary fell. Tamsin accepts her fate even if it means tricking the deadly warrior. You know what? I feel like this is a good one to pick because I don't love that, because it's the Purge. It's the Purge. We are trying to purge books that we wouldn't pick up, and I don't think I would pick this one up unless forced to. So let's try Fire in the Sky and see how it goes. Already read a shocking amount of this book. It's so addicting. I don't think it's very good. The writing is not very good, but I love the main character, and so I'm like having a really good time with it. It's not something anyone would expect me to enjoy. So I don't know, and I don't know if I'll like the rest of the book, but up to where I'm at chapter 11 already. Page, I can't see the page number, 118. And this book is only 330 pages. Like, it's super short. I'm already there. Good, having a really good time. I'm just like reading. Like, I picked this up and I have not stopped reading. Like, I started last night, fell asleep. Not because of the book, just because I was really, really tired. And then woke up this morning, immediately picked it back up. I love when that happens. I love when that happens. Again, arguably not a great, but there's nothing like happening. Like, I'm trying to think of what's going on, but there's not, like, this book, I don't exactly know the plot of this book, but it's following our main character Tamsin, who is the whipping girl for this like kingdom. She was picked out as an orphan and raised along the princesses, so she is known as like a princess in the palace, but she's actually the whipping girl. Like, if the princesses do anything bad, she's the one who takes the punishments. And so what has happened is this guy who's known as like the beast of something, we get his perspective as well, which I think is helping. If we didn't have his perspective, seeing how much of like a soft boy he is, I don't think I would like it as much, but because we have his perspective, I do like it. He's like the beast of something, I don't remember what he's called, but he's like this fantastic warrior, shows up and demands a princess for his wife, and they do a little switcheroo thing. And so that's kind of the premise of the whole book. That's literally in the synopsis, and honestly, kind of fun. That's the whole plot though. That's the whole plot. I assume the beast is gonna like try to overtake the kingdom or something like that, but there is no plot that has actually been handed to us. It is just this opening part, like 116 pages. That is all that has happened. Like, we have reached the point that the synopsis like tells us, like the actual wedding and the marriage night. That is all that has happened so far. I really like how smooth it reads. It reads in a way that my little brain is like, la 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 la. It's very similar style of reading as On Wings of Blood. Just so simple that your brain just is like, brain is mushy. It's a good book to read. It is very late Saturday. No, it is Friday. Well, it's Saturday morning, but it's very late Friday night. You can kind of tell I'm very tired. Anyway, I have an update on A Fire in the Sky. Basically, everything nice that I said about this book, erase it. Just pretend it never happened, because this book, literally like a chapter after I talked to you guys, took a left turn into Boring Town and then took a right turn into Crazy Town. This book got so goofy that I think I gaslit myself into liking the beginning of the book. I don't think I actually liked the beginning of the book, because I ended up going, so I did DNF it. I got to here. I got all the way to page 212, but the idea of reading another 100 pages of this book made me want to throw up. I was reading this book and laughing. I was laughing, and it's not supposed to be funny. So, we're not going to talk about spoilers. I actually will link a channel below. I ended up watching a full spoiler review of the book so I could like hear the ending of the book to see if I was missing anything. I did read 65% of this book, which I never DNF that late in a book, really. Like, that is insane for me to read that much of a book and not finish it. But it really got to that point where it was unreadable. readable. Do you know how crazy that is? That concept is that I can read 65% of the book and it gets so bad that I can't finish 100 pages. I love adding a book to my Goodreads count. So the fact that I couldn't bring myself to read the last 100 pages, that's how unreadable this book got. But yeah, I'm gonna link Reads with Rachel. I feel like everybody knows who that is. I'm gonna link her review of this book because it is a full spoiler review and it goes through all of the insane details of the book that I can't go into this because I do want to keep this spoiler free just in case you guys do want to give it a shot. Because I know a lot of you who are watching these also have not gotten to a lot of these books. You guys, a lot of you have a lot of backlist books that you're trying to get to. So, Fire in the Sky are basically the point that I got to. It turned into a travel story. It got very, very boring. Such a weird travel story. And then in the middle of this travel story, with no real lead up, with no real thing happening, our main character goes through a transformation. She goes through a transformation. And it is the most random bullshit that I've ever read. I started cackling. And the writing took a turn into bad. Like, I didn't think the writing was that bad at the beginning. Like, a lot of people do have issues with the beginning of the book. I really didn't have that. Like, the writing is not good, but I did think it wasn't horrible. It's like a different person wrote the last 50% of this book compared to the first 50%. That is how strange it is. Like, yeah, I had my problems with it. There was some really, like, the addition of the Stig character, absolutely unnecessary. It was just a very weirdly written character. But I kind of just able to overlook it because I was enjoying Tamsin as a character. But, oh my gosh, the dialogue got even more stilted than it was at the beginning. The plot, there's no plot. There's no plot to this book. And, like, the worst way possible. And like I said, it got funny. It got funny in a way that it's not supposed to be funny. Like, the book is not supposed to be funny. It's not trying to be funny. So we get into like dragon physics, and I think that's really what lost me, because the physics in this world, the biology, you get into dragon biology and it is bonkers. It's bonkers. There's a scene when a dragon is like thinking about themselves as a dragon, and it literally is like they reached a hand up and touched their face, and I was like trying to picture a dragon doing that, and all I can picture now is that it's Barney. How these dragons are described, it's like they're Barney, like that's what I'm picturing. Or like dragon tails. That's the type of dragons that we are dealing with in this book. And then there's just like there was like a birthing scene for dragons, and I don't know if I got a little lost during the scene, but my understanding of this scene, because I think Reads with Rachel said something different for the scene, so maybe I read it wrong, but this dragon is giving birth and calls it a hatchling. This live baby drops out of her, and it's human, and it's screaming, and she's like, oh, the hatchling is doing weird things, and I'm like, it's called a hatchling because they hatch out of an egg. The baby didn't come out of an egg, so it's not a hatchling. So that already was really weird. And it was the way that the dragon releasing was described is it's like a human acting, or it's like a dragon acting like a human during labor. Like, that's again, it was like Barney giving birth to a live baby. That is what was happening in this scene. And so I'm just sitting there giggling because it is so stupid. It is so absurd, and like the way that they describe the dragons is so weird and off-putting and bizarre. And then we have like random witches showing up in the book. Like, some woman just like appears in the forest and like is like, hi, I can heal you, and we're all just like, okay. And then she meanders off. You're just like, what? What is happening? And then every single sex scene is so cringy. I didn't think the first one was actually that bad. It could have been a lot worse. A lot of people actually have a lot of problems with the first sex scene. I really didn't. I didn't think it was that bad. The rest of them, some of the worst, cringiest things I have ever read. They used the word, I can't even say it. I can't even say it because the way that it was used, I was like, Quim, that one. I can't with some of the words. And he was like describing it, and I was like, I can't can't with this book. If I had finished it, it would have been a 1 star. Like easy 1 star, potentially worst book of the year. This will definitely be on honorable mentions for worst of the year because I could not finish it for reasons of it being very bad. So I would recommend, if you want full spoilers for the book, to watch the Reads with Rachel video. She goes through the whole thing and is very funny while going over it, but insanity. I don't understand. I don't understand how this book doesn't have lower ratings. Actually, I was looking at it, and pretty much everyone had the same problems that I'm talking about. But a lot of people, like me, actually got to 40-50%, and then were like, what the hell was the rest of this book? Like, what was this? But it's got like a 3.61 on Goodreads. The second book, apparently I dodged a bullet because the second book's got a 3.49. We've talked about this before on the channel, but it's if a second book in a series has a lower rating, generally it is really bad, because generally, using the word generally a lot, the only people that are moving on to the second book are people who enjoyed the first book enough to continue. So if people really hated the first book, they're not reading the second book. So you already have like a skewed audience that rating is probably going to be higher. If the rating is lower, that means it did something egregious in the book. So apparently this book did something egregious, because what did I say? 3.49? That's crazy low. That is scary town low. Unless you're like a horror book. Horror books that low, sometimes they can actually still be really good. But in fantasy, romantasy, you did something wrong. So anyway, we DNF'd A Fire in the Sky. So I am happy though so far with this video, because even though they have been 2 DNFs, I've had like a lot to talk about them, and I'm like very confident in my DNFs. Sometimes when I DNF something too early on, I'm like, oh, I don't really have anything to talk about. I feel bad DNFing it. But so far in this one, no, I am very confident in both of my DNFs so far. So we are moving on to the next book. I am obviously not in front of the Fairyloot books, because I would be right next to the war zone over there, which is, like I said, Lucas's computer. So it's on the because like his computer sits right outside like our bedroom, and our bedroom is where my Fairyloot books are, so I have to stare at them and guilt myself into doing this video. So I can't sit there and do that. So I will pick a thing here and we can talk through our options, and then I can probably record tomorrow what book we pick. But right now I kind of want to pick our cards so I can think about it. So I guess I should probably like shuffle these some, right? I can't shuffle. I'm not a shuffler. I'm not a shuffler, guys. Like this is bad. And I'm trying to like show you so you know I'm not like cheating. But obviously that's not working. You know what? Oh, okay. We're done that. We're done this little experiment. We're done this. Okay, we're just gonna pick another one from the middle. A book that is first in a series. They're like all first in the series. They're like all first in the series, so this actually works really well. So this is definitely a mood reading pick, which I think is really nice. So we have like This Vicious Grace would be a good one. The God and the Gumiho would be a good one, which is another one I looked up. So God and the Gumiho would be impossible to get at the second book from Fairyloot. However, the design on the Fairyloot book is just the UK edition with a different colorway. So that ended up working out for me. So some of these older books are just different colorways, which worked out very well if I end up liking them, because I can just get the UK edition. But anyway, God and the Gumiho, This Vicious Grace, I mean, The Half King. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. So I'm going to put this here, and we're going to pick a second one as a modifier. And we may use it, we may not. We'll see. But let's see if we can use one as a modifier. We have A Book You Bought for the Cover. So that one doesn't really count. I guess it's a favorite cover. So I could do that, but technically that one doesn't work. So we have next one, A Book with Found Family. That's going to be hard to choose from, because that's, I kind of have to know the plot. So I will put that one out as well. Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm. A Book with a Map. That actually could work. So let's try to do, I'll put Found Family and Bought for the Cover back. And I'll say, if we pick Bought for the Cover again, I'll say that's favorite cover in the group. I think that'll work. But I think a map and the book is a first in the series could limit us down. If it limits us too much, then I'll just pick one that's first in a series. I'm finally ready to pick a book. So what was the thing? It was first in a sequel. I picked this last night, the cards last night, and then I've been doing other things today. First in a series, not a problem. Either they're standalones or first in a series, so we just need to figure out which ones are the standalones. They are primarily mostly series. And then our modifier, we have a couple just in case the map one doesn't work. I think I'm gonna stick with the map because I think that's gonna be the most fun to try and find. Favorite cover, I mean, they're all gorgeous. Like, yeah, so I think, and then found family, that's just really hard to find. So that's a hard modifier. So found family will be like its own thing, and I'll have time to research that if that pops up again. But I think the map is gonna be a fun modifier. So first in a series, so looking at these, you can kind of see all of them. Gods Below, I actually don't know if it's in a series, and I'm gonna go with only the ones that I know. Like, I'm not even gonna do any research, I'm just gonna go with, yes, I know that's a series. So I don't know about this one. The Darkening is a series. This is also my lower end. I was kind of debating it because I don't want to just pick books that are the most highly rated. I don't want to pick books that are just the lowest rated. So this is the lowest rated book to over here to highest rated up on this upper shelf. So we're going to start with the lowest right now. I know The Darkening is first in the series. I have the second book. That's why it would be really nice to read this one. So this is a good option. But I don't know if this has a map. It doesn't strike me off the bat as a book that would have a map, and it looks like it does not. So no map in The Darkening. Cruel Illusions, I don't know if it's a series. I think it's a standalone. I haven't seen anything about this. Same with Seven Faceless Saints. Same with this. None of these I recognize as part of a series. Maybe Shanghai Immortal, but I'm not 100% sure. So I can put this back, because I'm not going to pick any of those. The Darkening was kind of like my best bet over here. This, I think, is a standalone. The Hurricane Wars is a series. I know this one is a series. Does it have a map? And if we get multiples that have maps, oh, there's a map. There is a map. Okay, so we're going to put this one to the side. This one does have a map, and it is the first in the series. I guess what we'll do next is we'll modify to favorite cover, and then, or even found family. I think we'll just stick with favorite cover though. So Half King, this I believe is also a series. I will double check afterwards once I pick, just in case, but no map. So this one I was a little unsure about if it did. Spice Road, is this a series? Yes, because I liked the cover. I saw the cover of the second book. This seems like it's a book that would have a map. So we have a map here. So if we're going to modify by favorite covers, Hurricane Wars definitely wins. Like, Spice Road's pretty, but Hurricane Wars is stunning. Like, Hurricane Wars is going to be tough to beat with favorite cover. So let's put Spice Road back. Ones we burn. I know it doesn't make any sense to do it this way, but oh, this is when they were doing that. That's interesting. So it kind of gives me an idea though, because if I get map again, because I'm probably going to put map back into the thing, maybe, I'll know which ones have a map. Nope, this one doesn't. I also don't think this one is a series. Don't think this is a series. Is this one a series? I don't know if this one is a series. But I also don't think this one has a map. This doesn't strike me as a map book. I feel like you can sometimes tell. That's a map. That's a map. Okay. The Night Ends with Fire. Ooh. Okay. This one has a color wave I like better. So we have the Hurricane Wars, which looks like this. And then we have the Night Ends in Fire. I think I like this cover better. So we're going to put the Hurricane Wars back. I feel like I dodged a bullet a little bit with that one. Foxglove King, I do think is a series. I don't think this is a map book. This does not strike me as a map book, but I was obviously wrong for the last one, so no map. Oh, Sword Catcher. This one, I don't like this cover, so even if it does have a map, I know immediately that this one is not going to win. But it does have a map, but I don't like this cover, like, at all. Oh no, I forgot where this one went. I think it was like, oh shoot, where was it? I think it was like here. Well, we'll leave that gap. I forgot I was supposed to leave a gap so I could put it back if I didn't have it. Sing Me to Sleep is, I think, the first in a series. I think the last one, or the second book just came out, but again, that's a map. I really love this cover. I love the colors. I love everything about it. I don't know. That's really close. So we're gonna keep both of these out, and then we'll see if we have a found family in one of them from the synopsis. The Temptation of Magic, it literally says book 1. So I assume there's other books in this series. I actually don't know anything about this one. This one does have a map. However, I don't like this cover. Long Live Evil is a standalone, I believe. Spells for Forgetting is a standalone. In the Lives of Puppets is a standalone. It's like part of like that whole world, but it's still a standalone. This Vicious Grace, this isn't a series, and I have the second book, so would probably be good for me to pick this one. And it has a map, but do I like this cover more than those? I like that it's yellow. I really like a yellow cover. I kind of think I do. I think I do. I don't know. I'll put it aside. I'll put it to the side. It's very different than the other two. Like the way that I like the yellow cover book is different than I like the other two. I think that moves us up here. Let me move you up a little bit so you can see. So we have the dagger and the flame. I'm not getting up. I'm gonna do this quickly. I don't love the cover of Dagger and the Flame. I do think it has a map in it, but I'm not gonna pick it. Worker by Four, Scarlet Alchemist, and Undertaking. This one does not have a map, I don't think. Ugh, I'm gonna have to look at them while I was hoping I wouldn't have to get up, but we're getting up. So we'll go through them. We'll finish the process. I just hate doing the ones that are like standing up because it's really annoying to pull them all out. So even though I wouldn't pick this one, it does have a map, but I'm not the biggest fan of this cover compared to those. I don't think Darker by Four is in a series. I don't know, but I also don't know if this doesn't have a map in it, so we're good. I do love that cover, so that would have been interesting what I would have picked. This one, if this has a map, I don't know if this is a standalone. Is this a standalone? I'm gonna have to check if this one is standalone or not, because if this has a map, this would probably win. But I'm not seeing a no map. Dang. Okay. I'm kind of sad. I kind of wanted to read that one. Honestly, this one would win. I love this cover. Like, I think it's just the traditional cover, but I love this cover. Love the edges. I love everything about this. So I don't think this is a map book though. Like, there's no way this is a map book. Dang it, that stinks. Okay. Gamiho. I would totally love to read this. I love this cover. I would love to read this. I also don't think this is a map book. Nope. We're down to the wire. Bonesmith. I don't like this cover more than those, which is sad because I do think I'll like the Bonesmith more than the other ones. And I bet this seems like a map book. Yeah, this has a map, but I don't love this cover. Like, I like it. I don't love it as much as what I picked out. And then our final one is a standalone, so I'm not even gonna go through it. So that leaves us with This Vicious Grace, Sing Me to Sleep, and The Night Ends with Fire. I am gonna use our next modifier. I don't know. I'm gonna do my best approximation if they actually have found family in them. So if they don't actually end up having found family, it's what I thought had found family based on the synopsis. So I'm gonna quickly read through the synopses of these 3 books and give you my thoughts of what maybe has the closest to found family. This one is only mentioning one person, and it does seem like the romantic interest, so I don't think this one really counts as found family, just based off the synopsis. This seems closer, so I do think as of right now, this beats that, because this says it's taking place in like a palace area, and she's going to be like an assassin slash a bodyguard, so it is going to make her interact with a lot of people, so potentially this could have a found family aspect to it. I think this one wins. I think this one was sad because I actually want to read Sing Me to Sleep. Sing Me to Sleep actually sounds like the most interesting to me, but this one is literally her joining the army, and it says Malin's hard work brings her recognition, friendship, and a growing closeness with Sky, a prince turned training partner. Yeah, she's gonna have like her military buddies are gonna be like her found family. So I feel like this one does fit all three the best. So this is the first in the series. It is a beautiful cover, and we have potentially a found family situation. So we're gonna be reading The Night Ends with Fire next. I'm incredibly happy that I ended up doing the mood reading vlog before doing this, or like doing it at the same time, because I found a lot of books that I really enjoyed during that mood reading vlog. So this vlog doesn't hurt as much. It doesn't hurt as much, which I was gonna say none of these are actually bad. No, A Fire in the Sky is legitimately a bad book. Like, it legitimately is. The Night Ends with Fire is gonna be a DNF. I think I got to about 100 pages, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to about 100 to 150 pages before I actually DNF these books. That's kind of my goal in 2026. So I feel more confident DNFing these, and pretty much how I feel about this one is how I felt about The Stardust Thief, minus my very much dislike for one of the main characters. This is a single point of view, but I just don't really care. So this is basically a retelling of Mulan, but add some other magical aspects to it. I just don't care. And I think I'm really solidifying, and I had this inkling before. I think I'm really solidifying my dislike of retellings. I love movie retellings. I don't know what it is. Movie retellings are some of my favorite movies. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time is A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff. One of my other retellings is the Cinderella version with Brandy in it. I talked about that before. I love those two. Those are two of my favorite movies. What is it? What else is there? I think I just really like Cinderella retellings. Maybe that's what I like. But I'm just not having a good time. I'm bored. I'm bored. I don't love how the romance is set up, but I did look up, I know this is a love triangle in here, and I did look up like who she ends up with, because I was like, okay, I don't like this guy that she's talking to right now. I don't like how he was introduced. So if she ends up with him, I'm not gonna like the series, because I don't like how it was introduced. There's already a bad taste in my mouth about this character. I was just not vibing with it. And so I did look up, she does end up with a different character, but if that's the only reason that I'm reading this book, is that a legitimate enough reason to read it and continue, and it doesn't happen until the second book? I just think that I need to let it go. Since last year, I've been really trying not to feel super guilty about DNFing things, because I think, and that's why I have that new series, which is, did I actually not like this? It gives me a chance to look back on books that maybe I do feel guilty not reading and give them a second chance and see what I'm feeling about it. But it's kind of nice doing it that way, because I'm only doing that when I'm like in the mood for that book specifically, like super in the mood for it. I have had time to think, maybe I would have liked it. And it's kind of making me really like discerning about what I DNF, because again, 90% of what I DNF'd, I stayed happy DNFing it. There were only a few that I go back and I'm like, should I have DNF'd that one? So I feel like I just need to stay confident in my DNFing. And so I am gonna DNF this, and I think it's the right call. I'm just really bored. I really am bored. I don't really feel any way about the main character. I don't feel any way about the plot. I don't really like the writing in this. It's very stilted. I also feel weird because the mom in this supposedly, like, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but our main character's mom supposedly died from madness, some sort of madness thing, and she went off and died somewhere. Our main character keeps saying, well, she gave up, and I just don't like that. As someone who was dealing with like extreme depression last year, I just don't like that attitude. I'm sure it's gonna change later, like I'm sure she's gonna like realize things later, but I just don't like reading that. And it's a lot, like there's a lot of times where she's bringing it up, like, oh, she gave up to her madness, like she caved into it, and it's like, it's just not a really good attitude to have towards mental illness. So I'm probably just being extra sensitive about it, but it did strike me as an uncomfortable thing that the main character was really harping on. But again, I'm sure it'll change later. If it doesn't, that's not a vibe. But if it does change later, I still just don't really want to wade through her emotional turmoil and blaming her mom for her mental disease and not being able to survive it. And again, I just think it's very stilted writing. So it's just kind of telling us things. And like the main character's flirting is so awkward, or not the main character flirting, but the main male interest currently, his flirting is just, it's so uncomfortable. It's so very uncomfortable. And I just don't care. I just don't care. So I don't think this is a bad book. I think if you're interested in this book, you should try it. I think a lot of people are really going to like it. I do think it's going to come down to a writing style / the story is just generally not what I'm looking for. I just don't think I like retellings. And I think this is illuminated that I need to email Fake Rate, because I was going to get the March Fake Rate, but it's a Cinderella retelling, but it says it's Brandy. That's why I'm like, that's what's like making me pause, because it's Cinderella retelling, but it's like Brandy's version of Cinderella. So I'm just like, do I get it? Do I not get it? So I'm torn. I'm torn on what to do of getting that Fake Rate. So I gotta think about it, because I feel like this is like the 100th retelling that I've DNF'd because I haven't been liking any of them. So I think I should probably skip March's Fake Rate. I think that would be the right call. So I think I'm gonna probably email them tomorrow and skip it, because it is really late out and I don't want to email them right now. We are DNFing The Night Ends with Fire. Again, it's not a bad book. I think that's why I'm not like super upset about these things. It's just, I don't want to read a book that I know is going to be a 3 or lower. I don't see it being anything higher than a 3. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to waste my time when there's so many other things that I am really excited to read, and I'm just sitting here not wanting to pick it up, just sitting there being like, oh, I guess I need to read this book now. I guess I need to read this. I'm not really enjoying my time, but I guess I need to pick it up. And when I switch to audiobook, because I did switch to audiobook, that's kind of a death sentence for books oftentimes for me. It's like, if I have to switch to the audiobook when I am dead set on physically reading it, most of the time it's a death sentence. It's I'm bored and I'm just trying to get through this, and then my mind starts to wander and then I don't know what's going on in the book. So that's pretty much what started happening with this. So I just need to not let the guilt get to me and just let it go. But this one was definitely going to be found family, like her friendships with the soldiers and stuff. So I was on the right track, at least with the prompts. Okay, prompt cards are back. They're back. Like I said, like I did it last time, I'm just going to pick them here, kind of think about what I have on my shelves, and then I'll show you my shelves tomorrow, because I keep doing this like late at night and I don't feel like going over there. So let's see if we get a good one that doesn't need any modifiers. I kind of enjoy doing the modifier though. We have a cozy fantasy book. Actually, a Sorcery of Small Magics. Is that what it's called? Sorcery and Small Magics? That one 100% is cozy fantasy. I don't think anything else qualifies as cozy fantasy. So I think Sorcerer and Small Magics, Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, would that count as cozy fantasy? I don't know. Is it even fantasy? is that fantasy? I think Sorcerer of Small Magics, it fits that perfectly. And honestly, it's another good one to get to, because I have my reservations whether I'm gonna like that one or not, because I've heard amazing things about it, but I generally don't like cozy fantasy. So I think that is another really good one to pick. A little bit of an update. It's been a while because I was working on the mood reading vlog and I was struggling with this one because I wasn't liking anything. As you guys know, it wasn't going very well. However, we have ended up picking up Sorcery and Small Magics, and I am enjoying this one. I'm only 20% in. I'm only 20% or about 65 pages in. And I am enjoying it. I actually think it's really funny. I'm liking the characters. It's grumpy, somewhat sunshine. It's an odd version of sunshine. Definitely one grumpy, but one guy is like a drunk grumpy, but he's like very cynical and humorous, so it comes off as like more lively, I guess. Grumpy lively. I guess the dynamic here. But it's fun. The world is interesting, even though I don't really expect that much from a cozy fantasy, so it is nice there actually is a little bit of backstory. But we're following Leo, who is a scriber. There are 2 versions of like magicians or sorcerers, whatever they're called. I think it's sorcerers. And there are scribers, which is what Leo is. And then the main love interest is Grimm, who is a caster. And so scribers and casters like work together. And so they're currently in school learning how to do these things. And it does read older. I don't know what the age actually is, but they do feel like they're in college, like older college, like low 20s. Obviously, they're at odds. They have always just not gotten along. Leo has some issues. He is basically, Leo and Grimm are the opposites. Leo is a underachieving person, but for reasons that he has, like he purposely underachieves because he's worried that if he sets his sights higher, he will fail for reasons that have happened in the past. And then Grimm is our kind of overachieving, great at everything type of character who cannot stand Leo and his lack of self-motivation, I guess is the best way to call it. So they end up in a situation together that they are trying to solve, and they're gonna like rope other people into it and stuff like that. So it's fun. It's fun. The humor is very Assistant to the Villain to me. It's not as corny. Like Assistant to the Villain can lean corny. This hasn't leaned, couple things leaned a little corny. It's more cynical humor, which I really enjoy, and kind of just like snappy at each other. So I'm enjoying this so far. I think this is really fun. I can see why the ratings are so high. As of currently, obviously, 64 pages. I have loved books before this early and then hated them later on, but I don't see that happening. I can see myself getting bored in this one, but I'm hoping that's not the case. I hope like we keep interesting things happening in this one. So that's kind of all the update that I have right now for Sorcery of Small Magics, because again, only 64 pages, really nothing is happening. I finally finished our first book of this vlog, and that is Sorcery of Small Magics. I actually was gonna update at 50%, but I had absolutely nothing to say about this book because I did end up not loving it. I did like the end actually quite a bit, but the middle section, it definitely went the route of extreme cozy fantasy, and it actually was like a bit of a travel story in the center. So I loved the beginning when we were at the school and doing the rivals kind of situation, because it's not enemies to lovers, it's rivals. Like when the actual curse happened, I really enjoyed that. But after that section, and then going to like different houses, I kind of like that as well. But the second it turned into the actual curse breaking section and the traveling part and them kind of just stuck together, I didn't actually enjoy it that much. It just dragged. I didn't really like the magic system in this world either. I think it has a lot of problems to it. I think it's one of those books that if you really thought too hard about the magic system, it would fall completely apart, because the magic system in this is following like I kind of talked about it, the scribers versus the actual casters. But the thing about the scribers are, it's you write on a piece of paper with intention, I think is what they said, and that's how like a spell is created, but it has to be crafted a specific way and only scribers can do it, and scribers imbue it with like the intentions it's supposed to give off when the caster actually casts a spell. But it doesn't work very well. I just don't like that. I don't like that because number one, they were talking about combat. Combat would be insane to try and do with this whole scriber caster thing, because the casters don't know the spells. They don't know the spells. They know some, but they have to like cast these really long spells to do anything, and it just seems a little silly. Like I really just did not like the magic system. I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy it, but I thought it was a little silly and doesn't actually work in practice. And it's like super unfair that the casters get all the glory, while the actual like writers of the things are kind of treated like lackeys, even though they're, again, the ones that are creating these spells. They're the ones that nothing would happen without, but casters are the ones that are more like prestigious and stuff. I just didn't like that. I didn't like that. I didn't think it worked. I also wasn't a big fan of our main character after a while. He turned out to be the rich boy who he legitimately had some trauma from his history. However, he turned that trauma into getting rid of all leg ups he has in life. So I don't have a problem with, oh shoot, what are they called when a celebrity has a celebrity parent and that's how they get their job? I don't remember what that's called. I'm like sitting here for a while just like thinking about what that's called. I don't really have a problem with it as long as it's acknowledged. I think it actually makes me more angry when someone doesn't use those advantages that they're given, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use those advantages? And so this is one of those situations where he has every advantage possible and he throws them away to waste his time and not try. And it's infuriating for the other characters in this book that he's not trying, but he could still easily get like a position. It's so frustrating. I'd rather see someone who has these legs up actually try and use these legs up and do something with themselves to make the world better with these types of connections instead of doing absolutely nothing. And that's the type of character he is. And I get it, it's from the trauma, but it became incredibly frustrating. And I don't know why anyone wanted to be friends with him. That is how awful he was. Like, he is so obnoxious. He's so obnoxious. Nepo babies. Oh my god, Nepo babies. So yeah, when you kind of like Nepo babies don't bother me as long as they are trying hard and they're actually good at what they're doing. And in this case, it's kind of the same thing. Like, he is talented. He is just choosing not to use those talents, even though he has the connections to make a difference. Get in there, make a difference, and do something. And it's, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. So I really, really was frustrated with this book. I think I'm ending up on, because I really did like the ending, and I think the next book could be set up really good as long as it's not a travel story. Because this whole book was a setup for the romance, and I like the little tension that was at the end. This almost felt like a prequel. Like, honestly, it felt a little prequel-y. I'm between a 2.5 and a 3. Because again, 2.5 actually is completely middle of the road. But I talked about it. 2.5 is neutral, but more on the I didn't like it side. And then a 3 is more on the neutral I liked it side. So I'm like right on that line between the two, because I really did not have a good time for a lot of this book, but I loved the beginning and I liked the end. So I think I'm just going to give it a flat 3. That might change later, but I think I'm going to give it a flat 3. I am going to try the second one whenever it comes out. Like, it's still hasn't been announced or anything like that. So if a second book ever comes out, I will try the second book, but I don't have super high expectations for it. So unfortunately, this is a bit of a bummer. So it went about as expected because it was cozy fantasy. So cozy fantasy really is a miss for me most of the time. Like, there's a few, but it really is a big miss for me. Moving on to picking another book. We're trying to get 3 red, but we'll see. That could take forever, but we officially have 1 down. So we technically need 2 more, but like I said, if we can't, we can't, but we're going to try. So here are our cards. We're going to, do I want to go off of color? So we're going to try 1 card first. Again, we might do modifiers, but we'll see. I liked this color. A book set in winter. I don't know if I want to like deal with figuring that out, to be honest. So I'm gonna put that one aside. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to find a book set in winter. It's too hard. Next, a book. Good Lord, it's a long one. A book in a format you wouldn't usually read. No, we're not doing that. That doesn't really fit this. Okay. And I read every format, actually, which is funny. Ooh, this one's stuck. This one's... because it was multiple cards. So what is this one? Your prettiest Illumicrate book. So we can do your prettiest Fairyloot book. Yeah, let's do that. Your prettiest Fairyloot book. And normally I've said it before. Normally I don't like the prettiest books. Okay, so that works. I guess we'll put this one... Yeah, we'll put this one aside. We're just going to keep it simple. We're going to pick the prettiest book on here. So let's look at what we have on this shelf. I did adjust these, so now everything is laying up instead of some stacks being up. It's because I now actually have enough room that I've gotten through quite a few. So, the problem is, I think we're going to end up with one that I'm not going to like, which is slightly unfortunate because the prettiest books kind of are down here. So, these are tight. These are tight. If I have to be haunted, that one's gorgeous. So I'm going to pull, and I like the edges. The edges might be what, like, seal the deal on this one. This is really, really pretty. It also is different than the other books. So we're going to pull that one. I don't really like that cover. This one, honestly, is really stunning. I really like this cover. Do I like it better than that one? I think I like this one better. I think this one's coming down to like color scheme. I like blues and pinks and purples together. The purple and the yellow doesn't work as good for me. Half King. I do like the Half King. It is a little boring compared to the other one. So I think that one still wins. That one's pretty, but not my normal color scheme that I enjoy. No. Ooh, this one. I love this cover. And I love the edges with this cover. I think this might... Ooh, they're so different. I think this one wins. I think this is prettier. Oh, see, and I've messed them up again. Where did I put this? I think this was over here. If I don't get them back exactly right, I'm not, like, that worried about it. Foxglove King. Let me move this. This is making things very difficult. Foxglove King, no. I already know I don't like that cover. I like this cover, but I don't think it's as pretty as this one. I know I don't like these covers. I know this one's not as pretty. Now this one, ooh, okay. Ooh, it's so different. It's so different. I think I like In the Lives of Puppets. I think I like this one better, so this one's gonna take over. Shoot, I did it again. I'm so bad at this. We're gonna stick it in right there. I think, based on what I know about those, I don't think any of those are prettier than this. And these I already just kind of skipped over because I knew I didn't think they were prettier. That one would be a close one, but nah. And then those up there, you can't see them, but it's this Bonesmith, which I don't really like the cover of. The God and the Gumiho is actually really pretty, but I know I like this one better. Undertaking of Heart and Mercy is a fine cover, and then the Scarlet Ooh, you know what? Let me check the Scarlet Alchemist. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think this one wins because of the color scheme. Okay, I'm gonna pick In the Lives of Puppets, which actually will be my first TJ Klune, which I feel like is crazy. This is like cozy sci-fi. I said I didn't want a cozy. In my head, I was like, we're not gonna do a cozy book. We're not gonna do a cozy book. But cozy sci-fi is very different from cozy fantasy, okay? Thank you very much. Now I'm like questioning myself. Should I read a cozy sci-fi after not enjoying a cozy fantasy? That feels like a bad idea. It feels like a bad idea. But again, I like cozy sci-fi much more. Oh, and I think it's a travel story. You know what? I know it said pick the prettiest, but I think I'm gonna go with second prettiest. Oh, I just did all of that work. So that one needs to go back in here somewhere. But I think I'm gonna go with what my original gut was. Is the Curse of Saints prettier than the Scarlet? Yeah, I love this cover. I think it's got scuffed up pretty bad, which is kind of sad. But I love this cover. I think it's so pretty. So I think we're gonna read this one. And again, I like a simple edge sometimes. I think the simple edge works gorgeous with this book. I love what they've done with this book. Don't know anything about it. Has she been sent to save the realm or destroy it? As spy master to the queen, I love a spy master. Aya's blood oath ensures she protects those she fights alongside, including Will, the queen's enforcer, and Aya's bitter rival. When rumors of dark magic rise in a nearby kingdom, both are sent to investigate. But when Aya's power acts beyond her god's given affinity, she risks being turned into a weapon in a war she doesn't know how to win. And when her relationship with Will unexpectedly shifts, neither knows the danger that will follow. I think that sounds fun. This sounds like a very simple fantasy book. I think that could work for me right now. So we're gonna try The Curse of Saints, and fingers crossed it ends up being a winner. I feel like it's never as obvious when you're reading a book that it's not working for you after you've just read a 5-star and a 4.5 star, and then trying to read this and you're just struggling and all you can see are mistakes, or not mistakes, but problems, things you don't like. And it's so painfully obvious that this is just not gonna work for you. It's just not gonna work for you. And so I am DNFing this one, and my kind of new rule is trying to get to 50 pages of every book just to see if something changes or just is a rough start. And unfortunately, I made it to just shy of 50 pages in this book, but this one it's not working for me. I just read 2 basically 5-star books, and no, no, this is such a generic fantasy, but it does nothing very well, which is the problem. Like, you can have a generic fantasy, like Throne of Glass is a generic fantasy if you read it now. I feel like it wasn't as generic when it first came out, but if you read Throne of Glass now, there's still very compelling things happening in the book. And unfortunately, already I don't like how this book is structured. So we're following our main character, who is the, like, eyes of the queen. Like, she is like an assassin type of person that works directly for the queen, and this is supposed to be an adult book. And that's probably where my first problem is I like young adult. I like young adult books, but young adult books still have to, they have to be written well. And a lot of young adult books that I like are written really, really well. Unfortunately, this reads like a badly written young adult book that is trying to be an adult book. Like, it's telling you everybody is in their 20s and has these important jobs and functions, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense with how these characters were written. So yeah, like I said, she is a seer of the queen, she is an assassin, and she is working for some reason. Like, right now there's just it's just a lot of politics. Like, I don't actually know the purpose of this book. I did not get far enough into this book to figure out what the purpose is of this book, but it's definitely going to be politics heavy, which I normally really enjoy. But I only enjoy books that are politics heavy when the politics actually make sense, and the magic system actually makes sense, and the characters make sense, and I feel like none of that is happening in here. So the main character, she is probably the most believable, because when I do think of like an assassin to the queen, a lot of books that I read, young adult and adult, they are more sassy, they are more volatile. And I kind of miss having, oh, what's her name from Six of Crows? I love the stoic assassin. I feel like we don't get that very often. So for me, her volatileness doesn't really point necessarily at being 17 years old, but she still does read 17. But I would believe a 17-year-old could be an assassin if she's like really that good and was trained since a child. The problem you get is with the other 2 characters that are kind of focused on the first 50 pages. And one is the obvious romantic interest, because they're already having like banter that is making me cringe. I don't like the banter between them already. There's already some weird sexual innuendo between them, like within the first couple of pages. I think within chapter 2 already there was something about it. But Will is supposed to be the second to the queen, and he acts like a petulant 17-year-old boy, a little teenager who's got a little attitude, and I don't really like him. I don't like his dynamic with the main character, so I'm already out of the romance. Like, maybe it'll get better later. But if you immediately open the book with me not liking the romantic interest, I'm probably not gonna learn to enjoy them as a character or as a dynamic together. And then the other character is I don't remember their name. Tova, something like that. It's a friend of our main character, and she is such a brat, and she is just like very volatile. She's all over the place. She is fighting with the queen about stuff. She's just being annoying, and she's supposed to be the general, because she's like, what? She's actually like a 14-year-old kid who's not getting her way, and it just makes no sense. Like, their job titles with how they're acting, they don't make a lot of sense. Like, they just don't. There is such bad info dumping at the beginning of this book, but unfortunately, at least if there was good info dumping, you'd at least understand the world. The info dumping is half-assed, so you understand like parts of things, but then they'll start talking about something completely different, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, what does that actually mean? And like, there's some cryptic stuff happening with our main character, and she's remembering some flashbacks, but again, they are like half-ass flashbacks. To the audience, we're like, wait, like what's happening? Like, we didn't get any backstory about this thing, so it means nothing to us, and it seems like it's supposed to be an emotional or like a oh my god moment, but it's not, because we don't understand what's happening in the scene. And I got all of that from just under 50 pages. So I don't want to pick it up. I don't want to read it. I don't like it. I don't understand half of what is happening in this book right now. I just don't think this one is for me. I really, really don't, which is so sad, because it's gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning. Fairyloot did do the second book in the series. The third one's not even out yet, but I do not think this book is for me. And yeah, I think I have to DNF this one. I love how I'm coming on here to pick a book, but instead I'm going to talk to you about what happened with the DoorDash driver like 2 seconds ago. That was actually wild. So Lucas went to go get the food because the doorbell rang a bunch of times. And he was like, oh, that's really weird because normally it's like you drop it off and they leave. And gets the door, and apparently the driver is stuck. And we're like, oh, that's really weird. Like, our driveway is gravel. No, they drove into our yard. And like at first we were like, how do you do that? Is it because we have a really long driveway. It is a fully gravel driveway, really long. Our cars are at the bottom, our house is at the bottom. If you have headlights combined with our massive, very bright porch light, there's no mistaking where the driveway is. So I'm thinking that it was pouring rain. I didn't actually know that it was raining. I try not to order DoorDash if it's raining, but it was pouring rain, and the driver, I personally think, my personal opinion on the matter, because we've talked it with like multiple people of what they thought is, and pretty much everyone agrees that they didn't want to get out in the rain. So I don't know why they didn't just call us. We would have went out there and gotten it. I think they didn't want to go out in the rain, so they literally drove into our yard, got stuck to try and get to the door quicker. And I don't know why they did that, because they just were walking through mud, like straight up mud, because of how much it was raining. So my husband ended up having to very luckily tow them out because we didn't think we had a chain, but the previous people who lived here, they left a ton of stuff behind. So he just went in the shed and checked, and they had a chain. So Lucas ended up towing them out. But it's just like, but yeah, our yard is kind of destroyed. Like, there's giant tracks of mud in our yard. And so we're gonna have to go in tomorrow and fill them in, and probably during the summer, like, put grass seed down and stuff, because it's really bad. That's what we did tonight. But let's pick our next Fairyloot book, because right now I'm reading 7 Deadly Thorns for the Reading All My November and December books. So I'm probably gonna finish that first and then move on to the Fairyloot pick, because I'm actually kind of having a fun time with that. But and this hasn't gone great, so I'm a little more nervous to do this. So let's see what our next prompt is, and I'm hoping for a good one. So here are our prompts. Let's pick the red card. We have the longest book on here, TBR. I'm not doing that one. I'm already in a bad mood, and I'm short on time. We're not doing longest. We're not doing longest. That was just mean. That was mean for how tonight was going. A book with multiple POVs. Okay, we can try that. That's going to be a pain in the butt to try and find. But let's look at the ones that I actually really want to read. I want to read this Vicious Grace. So let's see if this has multiple points of view. I can't tell with this one. Sing Me to Sleep sounds pretty good. I don't think this one does either. That's unfortunate, because those two are like the two that I really was looking forward to most with reading. This one, I do think this is multiple points of view. I do actually think it is, because this chapter says Heart had been back in the field for all of 26 hours. And then the chapter before said Mercy cranked up birth number 5. So I think this is multiple POVs, and I really want to read The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. So next up is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I have very high expectations for this book, and it is different. It's different than the other fantasy books that I've read, so I'm really hoping I enjoy this one. I am crashing out. I'm so annoyed. This was a 5-star prediction. 5-star prediction. It's a 5-star prediction. I'm DNFing it at 33%. I hate this book. I hate this book so much. Like, this is easily the worst one that I've read in this whole video. Ooh. I was looking at fire in the sky. Maybe second worst. I'm like trying to figure out how to even talk about this book, because I legitimately hated, I think, every single thing about this book. I really hate the characters. That's what really put the nail in the coffin for this one. But I despise the characters, specifically Hart. Really hated him. Really absolutely loathed him, because he's not like misunderstanding enemies to lovers or rivals to whatever. They're not rivals, but enemies to lovers. It's not like that. He legitimately is just a nasty person. Like, he is a mean person, and we're supposed to excuse it because he's dealing with like grief. But I don't care. I don't care because he is such a nasty person to our main character for absolutely no reason. Our main character, I like her for the most part until what just started happening is she's trying to force somebody into doing something that they absolutely obviously should not be doing. And she is acting like those parents that expect children to take over their company, expect them to follow this pathway that they've chosen for them. And she's the one doing that in this story. And that is one of my giant pet peeves for like parents in stories. So why would I like it when our main character is doing it? So hate that. Hate the characters, hate the dynamic between them. I really think that I don't like letters in books actively. And it's funny because this is actually a retelling of You Got Mail. And I love You Got Mail. It's like one of my favorite movies ever. I don't like letters in books. I kind of think it's boring. So anyway, this is following our main character Hart and our main character Mercy. Mercy is an undertaker in this very poorly explained world where she takes bodies and sends them off into the underworld or wherever the heck they go. She has brought these bodies by Hart, who is a marshal who kind of trolls this weird little walled off island thing in the middle of this country, and it's like magical. There's like an old gods versus new gods thing that was mentioned once and never ever explained again for the 150 pages that I've read so far. So that's fun. He like patrols that area for shoot, what are they called, poachers and stuff like that. And that's kind of his job, and also to take care of the like zombie-esque creatures that are created in this magical land. And he brings the bodies that he finds to Mercy a lot of times. And I hate the world. The world is not explained very well. I hate our main characters. I don't really like our side characters very much either. I really don't like them either. The dialogue is horrifically cringy. I'm normally like okay with dialogue in cozy stories where it's a little more Hallmarky feeling, but this is so far past that cringe point that it's making me want to crawl into a hole and die. That is how much I hate how they talk to each other. There's also this like talking bunny man thing who's the mailman, and he's like a 60-year-old smoker seeming dude who like is just gross, and he's talking about Mercy's boobs and her butt. Has a lot of has some boob jokes, some butt jokes. You guys know I love that. No, I love that. So I don't like it. I don't like anything about this. So that's so sad because this should be something that's a 5-star. It was a 5-star prediction. I love this. It has a 4.05 on Goodreads. I was ready to buy the whole series. I'm so glad I got this, and when the second book came out, I was in my era of not buying sequels before reading the first one. Thank God, because otherwise I'd have books 2 and 3 in this series. Because like I said, this was supposed to be a 5-star prediction, but I actively don't get why people like this one. This is one of those that I'm watching reviews and I'm just sitting there going, am I living in the Twilight Zone? Is that where I am? Am I living in the Twilight Zone? Because apparently I read something completely different than everybody else, and I feel like a crazy person for feeling this way about this book because I have yet to see a bad review besides what's on Goodreads. I don't understand. The people that I agree with book-wise love this. People that I don't agree book-wise love this. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I would rather poke my eyeball out than continue reading this. I even tried the audio. I even started the audio because I was like, can't get any worse. Got worse. The audiobook is terrible, arguably, so there was no getting it through it that way either. I'm just really sad. So I did actually just post a community post thing because this is getting pushed off a whole week. This video. I love how I was pointing at this. This video is being pushed off a whole week because obviously it's not going well. Like, it's clearly not going well. So it is Thursday night. This is supposed to go out Sunday. That would leave me Friday and Saturday to read 2 more books, actually physically complete at least 1 more. And that just doesn't seem viable at this rate. And I would like to find stuff that I enjoy. I would like to finish this video on something good. So I am going to attempt another book. I have pushed this to next Sunday. So I think March 1st is when this will come out. Hell or high water, this will come out. I don't care if I have to DNF every single Fairyloot I have on my backlist. this video will come out March 1st. I swear, it's this series. It really is. I mean, the Purge series, it is what it is. But it just infuriates me doing it. Because I always start off the videos like, oh my god, this is going to go so well. I'm going to find new favorites and some backlist books from these bookbox videos, from these bookbox book things. And then we actually get in the video, I'm just like, oh, the first book, it didn't go well, but it's okay. Like, it wasn't that bad. And then like 5 books deep, I'm like ready to fight somebody. I'm ready to fight a lion. Like, so we're at that point. We're at that point because we have DNF'd one and like far into them. I think the only one I DNF'd early, no, I think all of them were after 100 pages. Maybe the Curse of Saints not. The Curse of Saints may have been at 50. I think the Curse of Saints was at 50 pages. That one just like everything just wasn't working for me. I knew it would be at max a 3-star just because it would be boring for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4 books I've DNF'd after 100 pages. 1 under 50 pages, 1 I finished, and it was fine. It's fine. I'm there. We've reached that point in the Purge video where I start cracking. I'm like my brain is like buffering and I don't know what to do. So we're pivoting. As we do in these videos, we're pivoting. So we're not gonna go to the shelf. We're not gonna go to the shelf. I've picked 6 books that have the most likelihood of me liking them. But you know what? The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy would have been on that list. So what do I know? What do I know? So 1, 2, 3, yes, 6. We have 6 books. I will show you the 6 contestants. And then we will pick a prompt card, which I'm with a different prompt deck again because I'm in here. I just keep this prompt deck in here and then the other prompt deck in the other room. That's just how I'm doing it. So 6 books, we'll do a prompt. We'll see if it works. But these, in my opinion, are the books that I'm most, I don't know what I'm doing, most likely to like. And hopefully I will be more stable tomorrow because I don't plan to update until I'm feeling more stable. So that's fun. Okay. Spells for Forgetting, Adrian Young. I haven't seen the best things about this, but I loved June Farrow. Loved June Farrow. Loved it so much. So I think that is a good predictor of that I'll at least enjoy my time reading it. It might not necessarily be a 5-star, but I think I would greatly enjoy this one. So that is an option. Then we have this is Grace. This is actually one of my friends, one of her favorite fantasy books. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just throw this one in there. Let me throw this one in there. And I think it's like vampires and stuff. And I love a vampire story. Like even if I don't end up liking it on Wings of Blood, I will at least finish the book because I like vampires. So hopefully that one. Then we have a little bit of a change from normal things, and this one I can actually do on audio, so that is very tempting. In the Lives of Puppets, this is not a fantasy, this is a sci-fi, cozy sci-fi, which I actually really enjoy. I like cozy sci-fi more than cozy fantasy, because I like my little robots, but it's following little robots, and I think I could enjoy this one, and I think I could just vibe with this one. So the premise is something I really like. Again, love robots, so this could work. This is where we start getting a little scary. This one's picked just based on the ratings. People really, really like this one. I don't know anything else other than that, but it does have gods in it, which I do like. So this one could be fun, and it also is very different than normal fantasy, so a little bit, again, of a different pace. This, again, is solely based on ratings and hearing people talk about it, and it is necromancers. I do generally like necromancers, so I think that also could be good. And then the final one, I have read Kylie Lee Baker before. I like their writing. Bat Eater. Love their writing. This is fantasy, so I might like their fantasy books better. So this is like, okay, I know I like the writing of the author. I could like them in fantasy better than I liked them in Bat Eater. So this one is a bit of a stretch, but again, I've heard pretty good things about this, and I already know I like this author's writing. So those are the options. I need to take a breath because I'm stressed, and it's so unnecessary to be this stressed about reading books. But I wanted to like everything in this video. I wanted to have such a fun time, and I feel like I've just been slapped in the face by like the book gods. So here are our prompts. I think I generally know what most of these books are about, so this could be easier. A book with witches. I don't think any of these have witches. So this does not say the word witch, because like there can be magic, but they're not necessarily witches, if that makes sense. So I want one that actually says she's a witch. Definitely not. That's like warriors. Again, this is gods. That's definitely not it. Scarlet alchemist could be, but I think it's going to use the word alchemist instead of witch. Yeah, it's using the term alchemist, which to me, even though there's like a similar connotation, it is different styles. I feel like witch comes with a style of book compared to other uses of like words to mean like a person who does magical-esque things. This one obviously doesn't. I don't know why I was looking at it. Spells for forgetting. I still don't think this is witch. This does not say witchcraft, so we are going to move on to the next prompt. The prompts become a little bit harder when you have less books, but we're gonna try. Okay, next one we have a book with a love triangle. Again, I actually don't think any of these have that. I think it's gonna be too hard to figure out. I don't think any of these like off the bat in their synopsis really talked about that. This doesn't even talk about a romance in the thing. This talks about two people. Okay. Okay. As they travel, Ren and Julian spend as much time fighting as they do the undead, but when they discover there's more behind the kidnapping than either of them knew, they'll need to work together to combat the real danger and dark alliance that is brewing between the living and the undead. And it says it's a disgraced ghost-fighting warrior who must journey into a haunted wasteland to rescue a kidnapped prince. But she's traveling with some dude as well, Julian, one of the kidnappers. So that could be a love triangle. Prince, kidnapper, our main girly. So this I will count if none of the other ones are like super obvious, because the prince may not even be like part of the love triangle, but it is slightly hinted at, so I will count it. This just mentions two people. Then this one also just talked about two people. So I think we're gonna go with Bonesmith. Fingers crossed that this is way better than The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I have some good news and I have some bad news. Starting with the bad news. So I am currently trying to lose weight. I have like a max weight that I have set for myself over the years because I do have Hashimoto's. I gain weight really, really fast. And I also have some other chronic conditions that make it difficult sometimes to exercise regularly. It's pretty much impossible sometimes. And so I have to be very careful with my weight and what I'm eating and stuff like that. And so sometimes I just don't. Sometimes I just don't. So there is a max weight that I set for myself and I have hit it. So I do need to lose weight. Like, happened before, it's gonna happen again, I'm sure, but I need to lose probably 10 to 15 pounds is what I'm normally comfortable with. That being said, it's flipping cold in here. Freaking cold in here. I have quite a sweet tooth. And so when I'm doing these, like when I'm trying to lose weight and I'm being like extra careful about what I'm eating, I don't like completely get rid of anything because that would be crazy. That's what causes me to binge eat. If I like really, really want something sweet, I'll go and I'll take a little tiny bite like this big of some cookie dough, put it back in the fridge and move along with my day. So I went to the fridge literally, I think 10 minutes ago, and I opened up my cookie dough, and normally I kind of like hold it low and I just take like a little bite and grab it. I had it closer to my face this time and it smelled weird. Smelled really weird. It smelled really weird. And I was like, that's really weird. Like I just bought this. Like I'm really careful with so as in public health, I'm really neurotic about food dates. And normally most of the stuff is thrown out in our fridge before the expiration date even pops up. If there's something that even looks remotely suspicious, I have irritable bowel syndrome as well. I have a very, very, very sensitive stomach. And I've had quite a few violent bouts of food poisoning in my past. And so I don't risk it. And so I open this thing up, I look at the expiration date, December 2025. I'm about to crash out. I started tearing up and like almost crying. I threw it in the trash so fast. I like started gagging. And I told my friend and she's like, if you haven't died in the past week eating it, I think you're okay. But like right now I feel kind of nauseous and my heart's beating a little bit fast, but I think it's just because I'm anxious. that I ate something probably rancid. But it seemed fine. That's why I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I swear I just bought that like less than a month ago. I'm so confused. I'm just like baffled, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. So not the happiest camper on the planet, but good news is I am to chapter 8 or 76 pages into Bonesmith, and I'm loving this. I'm having a great time. I'm so excited about it. I think we're gonna end with this book. I think we're gonna end with this book and then start fresh with a new Fairyloot Purge starting next month after I finish reading my November and December book box books. I think it'll be really good to stop on something I'm really enjoying. The other bad news, I should have said bad, good, bad news. The other bad news is there are like no copies of Ghostsmith for sale. I thought Ghostsmith was still on Fairyloot's website and it is not. So part of me was like really hoping I wouldn't like this, but that's really dumb to want to not like something just because you can't get a copy of the second book. But I'll find one. Right now, I think on Mercari and on Pango there are like sets of both of these. So I think the one I'm looking at right now is like $64 for both. So I'm not gonna offer until I finish this, until I know 100% I enjoyed this. But I think I'm gonna ask if they can split it. And then, I mean, what is it? If I bought this from the Fairyloot shop, it would be like 40 bucks. I'd be willing to pay around $40 to $50 for an edition of Ghostsmith. I think that's pretty reasonable because it doesn't have like a bunch of, not a lot of people are trying to buy it. So like there's a lot of copies in sets, not a lot of copies, probably like 5 copies in sets and no one's buying them. So they're not in demand. They're not like super in demand. So I think the demand has passed on these. So I think $40 to $50 I feel like is pretty good because that's not including shipping. So probably $50 with shipping. So I'm probably gonna look around for that while I'm doing this, and if I end up loving this I probably will go ahead and buy that. But I'm enjoying this. This is following our main character. I will say I was stressed at the beginning of this though because it does a thing that I don't like, but it's not that I don't like it, like, how do I explain this? I don't like it because it makes me cringe. Like, not that it's bad in books. Like, it's actually a really good thing that happens in books. It's just one of those things, like when I'm watching a movie or I'm reading a book that has it in it, I just get really uncomfortable because I know this bad thing is about to happen. So I'm just like, oh, get it over with so we can get into the rest of the story. So anyway, main character is a bonesmith. So there are things called bonesmiths, and you either want to go like the Valkyr tract or the Reaper tract. And the reason that bonesmiths are necessary is because the world is really interesting. The world is filled with different kinds of smiths, but bonesmiths are really important because the undead are a thing in this. And they are incredibly hard to kill, and they would overrun the entire kingdom if not for these bonesmiths. And so she is trying to train to become a Valkyr. It's in her family line, but she runs into a lot of problems with her family. She is not the favorite child, especially the favorite grandchild. So she runs into some issues with her cousin, and that's kind of how this opens up. She is about to go into her final trials to become a Valkyr, and something happens during the trials. There's sabotage, and so that's the cringy part where I'm like, oh god, get it over with, because I know it's gotta go bad. I know it's like the third act breakup in romances. You know they're coming, so you're kind of just like, oh, let's get it over with. But you don't actually hate them. Well, some people do actually hate them, but that's kind of how I'm trying to explain it, because I don't actually hate that it's in this book. I'm just like, need to get past it. Because it's gonna be awful for our main character. So anyway, something happens during these trials and she is shipped off to kind of like a remote location where she is going to need to prove herself to get back on track to her dream of becoming a Valkyr. And so I believe that this said, oh yeah, I reversed the dust jacket, so now I gotta find the actual synopsis. I think it should be here. Yes. So she's gonna end up traveling with an ironsmith to go rescue the prince of the House of Gold. So there, like I said, there's like a bunch of different smith houses. So there's goldsmiths, ironsmiths, I said there's a bunch of stonesmith, but that one's not actually a house. I said ironsmith already. What? Silversmiths? So there's just like a bunch of them. And so that's kind of like the basics of the world, and I'm really enjoying it. I like our main character. She's a bit bullheaded. She does remind me a little bit of Selena, which is really cool, like very interesting, but she's kind of a badass, so I'm enjoying that as well. So I'm having a great time. I'm ready to continue reading this. I do think we're going to end on this one just because want to end on a positive note, and then we will continue with the Fairyloot Purge later, like I said. So we're going to continue reading Bonesmith. I will try to update probably at about 100 pages. I am unwell, but that is not going to stop me from giving an update. God, I feel terrible. I've been up since 4:30 this morning with a migraine. It's because of the weather. I always get migraines, at least one migraine when it starts changing, like the weather, and the weather's been all over the place. It's so bad. But I'm doing okay. I managed to like head it off. I was able to get to Excedrin, and I have a Coke. I managed to do that really fast. So it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that bad. I've had worse migraines. But unfortunately, I really wanted to go do things today because I am working on my new TBR game, and I'm trying to make flashcards for it. Well, I guess not flashcards, but they're gonna be the size of flashcards. But I need to go get a laminator. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with the laminator. I gotta go to a laminator, and then I also wanted to get the paperback of Silver Elite because I have the Book of the Month version and I don't like it. So I do plan to get the pretty Silver Elite edition that's in paperback that just came out, and then probably borrow Broken Dove from the library and then wait for the paperback to come out for that because I just don't really like the hardbacks. I've started to realize that I think I just really like reading paperbacks. They don't like last as long on your shelf. Like I feel like my paperbacks are definitely in worse conditions than my hardbacks, but I love reading a paperback. But anyway, that aside, what else did I have to? I wanted to go to the library. I wanted to go pick up When Among Crows, I think. Yeah, the Veronica Roth book, When Among Crows. One of my friends is reading it, and she's loving it. And I'm a pretty big fan of Veronica Roth. I loved Poster Girl, obviously. Loved the first couple of books of Divergent. Not that last one. Also, this is a migraine cap. My friend gets a ton of migraines, and she actually recommended this. I luckily don't get that many. I normally have 3 to 4 for a whole year, depending on the weather. But this is a need. This is a need, even just when you have a regular headache. So I can just pull it down, and yeah. Anyway, this one, I need to go change it out. I bought 2 because I will say the cold does wear off pretty fast. So if you are going to get one of these, I would buy 2 of them. This is not sponsored. This is not sponsored. Let me show you what the name of it is. I just got it on Amazon. I don't know if you can get it anywhere else. But it's like, what is it? Thera Ice? Yeah, Thera Ice. I got a pink one and I have a black one. And I'm probably going to get a third one. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to go to the library because I wanted to pick that up. And then I was going to pick up Vladimir because it's a book I always kind of wanted to read. And it's actually coming out on Netflix. So it's kind of crazy that they decided to make a series or a movie about that. So I kind of want to read it because I want to do another new series about books versus adaptation, because there's so many adaptations coming out. Like, it's actually crazy how many adaptations are coming out. So anyway, right now, instead of doing all those things that I want to do, I am just listening to the podcast Do We Know Them, which is highly entertaining, and just kind of doing these little flashcard things. I'm printing them out. But yeah, I'm planning my new TBR game, which is, I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm really hoping it works, but it has to do with a dartboard. A full dartboard. I just wanted to do something fun because I gotta motivate myself to actually do TBR videos, and I think this is just gonna be fun, like turning it into a sport. But anyway, what we're really here for is my update on Bonesmith. The book is somewhere over there. I literally woke up, I had it next to me to like start reading, and then the migraine started and I like threw it somewhere. I have no idea where the actual book is. I'll have to find it when I'm feeling better, because if I stand up I might pass out. I'm at 50%. I think it's like chapter 22 or something. Don't quote me on that. I'm just very neutral about the book now. Like, I liked the beginning of it, but it's almost entirely a travel story, and I was suspicious of that going into it. It also is definitely not a love triangle. I think that was supposed to be the prompt. It's definitely not a love triangle. It's just a travel story. You guys know that I don't love travel stories. So when we're actually like fighting and talking about the lore of the world, I'm loving it. Most of the time it's just us traversing this like big area and not really getting any answers about things going on. So I just don't love that. Like, it's so rare for me to enjoy a travel story, and this is definitely proving that situation. So disappointed. I don't have anything else much to say about it because there really isn't anything to say about it. The writing's good. The pacing is fine. It is slow because nothing is happening. Nothing really has happened for the past 100 pages. I just needed to pick up because this book started off so action-packed, so strong, and now it's just very meandery. It definitely feels like a situation of like we weren't sure exactly what to do in the middle of the book. And that's how I always feel about stories, though, that are travel stories. I feel like it's not actually the case that they don't know what they're doing, like with the book. It's just that's how my brain comprehends that type of story. So hopefully it gets better. I don't want this to be another 3-star situation. Like I just want to get somewhere. I want to get somewhere. I want to do something. I do think the intrigue has picked up a little bit because we did introduce another point of view from one of the characters, which I'm kind of happy about. I think I do need that to break up the monotony of the travel story in one person's perspective. Unfortunately, they are also traveling, but at least it's a different perspective of the traveling, thank God. So I don't think it's a bad book. I don't think it's even like that boring. I'm just having a hard time finding the motivation to read it. And that's what I'm struggling with. And I feel like I've been reading this book 4 days. Hopefully I start feeling better so I can go back to reading it. And then I can go get my laminator. I really want a laminator. I feel like this hood is actually crazy. Like, it looks like a wizard's hat. Like, I wish it wasn't so pointy in the back. I've been wearing it kind of like this, so it doesn't look as bad like on camera. But on camera, if I put it like this, I look like a witch. I look like a witch. It reminds me of, oh, what was the movie? Oh, I'm not gonna remember the movie because the second I tried to remember, I'm not gonna remember it. Yeah, I look like a witch, so I try to put it up like this. But I know in like person when I have it up when it's raining, I look insane. But you know what? This is like the most comfortable thing that I own. I have a bunch of her shirts too, but it's Bookish by Brie, I think is the designer. It used to be something else, but she changed it. I think it was like Book Babe Designs before. But it's those like really cute shirts, comes out with a bunch of Halloween stuff and a bunch of Christmas stuff. But she just put like, this I guess came out last year. But she just put them like back up on sale, and I only knew about her this past year, so I saw this and I was like, so this is my new favorite lounge sweatshirt. It's massive. It's massive. So I mean, I'm happy about it because I wanted an oversized sweatshirt. But if you are looking to like buy this or buy one of, see, I don't know about her other sweatshirts, but this one, this specifically the Hopeless Romantic one, this one is definitely oversized. So if you want something more form-fitting, it does shrink like the tiniest bit in the wash, but really not that much. So if you want a more form-fitting one, I would downsize one, but because this is a large. This is a large, because I tend to like my clothes a little more roomy, but it's very roomy. Like to me, this is an XL. Like this feels like an XL. So I would downsize if you want something more form-fitting. Anyway, let's talk about the end of this video. First, let's talk about some happy things. So I did end up buying my final books of February because I am going my version of no buy March. I know it's supposed to be like no buy November, whatever. No buy March for me because I think February's gonna end and I'm gonna have bought more books than I read, and I don't want that to be the case. So we are going to try and limit how much we buy next month. I think I'm getting one book of the month, I think, if the predictions are correct. I think I'm getting one aardvark if the predictions are correct. And then obviously my book boxes, we are getting a lot for March. And then I have 2 books that I am getting. Beneath, the prequel to Conform, and oh no, what was the other one? Oh no, I don't remember. There's another one that I'm like really excited about. Oh, Strange Buildings. Those are the 2 that I'm getting in March. I'm going to try not to buy anything else. There are 2 that are on my radar. The Secret Lives of Murderers' Wives, which I was hoping was an aardvark pick. And then The Fourth Wife, which I could see being an April aardvark pick. So I might hold off on that one, obviously. But I'm going to probably try library for those 2 just in case, because I'm trying to use my library more. I might have a library video later on, but we'll see. You'll see probably some library books in videos coming up because I'm really trying to use the library. But anyway, I did get my last couple of books of February, minus those things that I talked about, so that we can go into no buy March. We ended up getting They Call Her Regret. I had no idea this was coming out. This is the same author as Needy Little Things. Loved that book. I thought it was so good. I think it was a debut too. I think this is only their 2nd book. And I thought it was so fun. It was very speculative fiction young adult mystery. Very interesting. So I saw this, and this seems more on the side of like horror, and there's like witchy stuff in this one. So I definitely ended up picking up this one because I will pick up an author that I've enjoyed before. Then I did do this, but I have a plan. I have a plan. I originally bought Silver Elite, the book of the month one, because I didn't really think anything of Silver Elite. Ended up loving it. I did end up buying the Fairyloot edition. I don't know if I like it. It did arrive. I don't know if I like it. I think I liked the mock-up a little bit better, but I don't love people on my covers in general, but I liked the colors of the mock-up. But when like I've actually seen it, I don't love it. So I'm undecided if I want to keep that one yet, because if the reverse dust jacket was like a totally different design or something, then fine, maybe I would like reverse it or something. But the reverse is just the regular cover in a different color. I think it's like a purpley turquoise thing. I don't remember. But so I'm undecided, but the cover that I want just came out. So I did pick up the white edition. I think this is the prettiest edition so far on the market. I'm kind of like whatever on the edges. I think they could have done something a little more fun. I don't hate them, but it's really the cover. The white cover is gorgeous. I love the white spine. Obsessed with this. I think this looks so cool. So I think I'm going to collect the paperbacks. I love the white, so I hope the second book looks just as pretty. And then I also bought the Red Winter. I am really excited about this one. I think this one looks really, really cool. I think it's different than anything I've read before, but it's stunning. It's stunning. I know supposedly, I believe it's going to be an aardvark pick, but sometimes I like getting my fantasy books like this. I love getting fantasy books from Book of the Month or aardvark. I mean, again, look how that went with Silver Elite with Book of the Month. I just don't love getting them from there. So I think this is a standalone, so it wouldn't matter as much, but I do prefer like getting the full-fledged hardback for fantasy. That's just how it is. And I do actually like the red. I think they did a really, really good job on the red. So got that. It's really pretty. Like it's really, really pretty. So I'm hoping that I end up liking this. But that's my little update. For that, we're gonna get into Bonesmith. I feel so conflicted about this one. Like I'm so conflicted. I loved the beginning. Loved the beginning, was thinking 5-star at the beginning. Really didn't like the middle. I really didn't like the fights were really, really good. Actually enjoyed that. I just did not like the meandering, and it has nothing actually against this book. It has nothing against this book. I would have known not to pick it up as potentially a favorite if I had known that it was a travel story. That is just a personal preference. I don't like travel stories. It's something I definitely know about myself pretty well. It's one of the reasons I actually didn't love the second Emily Wilds, because there was a lot of traveling just for days at a time in the woods. I liked the first one because there was like a home base and it was more like little areas nearby. Second one had a lot more traveling, and I get incredibly bored. I just don't find traveling very entertaining. I also don't love very small groups of people in stories. Like, yeah, I want to follow primarily one point of view, which this one did weird stuff with points of view. I will say that. I generally enjoy following a bigger found family kind of thing, and this one definitely focused just on 2 people, and I just did not find that remotely compelling. I found it much more compelling when we were actually in locations with multiple people, actually interacting with others and talking about lore. I did not care for the only 2 people stuck in the woods constantly walking through the same area and honestly kind of just talking about the same things over and over again. That was my other big problem with this, is it felt very repetitive. I have read quite a few books, and this tends to be why I don't like travel stories, is you leave a location, you are going to another location, you find out that this other location is inhospitable for some reason or another, or the idea was always going back. So then the other half of the book is like almost like speed travel, but you end up back where you originally were in like 3 pages instead of 200. So for me, my brain always hates that. And then once we're back in the original place, it's just repeating stuff that we talked about in the woods and stuff that we talked about before we left, and everything is the same in this little area as it was before we left. So it feels like nothing happened. We basically travel to get like 3 revelations about the storyline, and then we travel back to deal with those things. And I just don't care for it. I don't care for it. I think the pacing was incredibly slow in this. Again, that often happens with travel stories for me personally. So for me, this didn't work that well. For other people, I can see why it did. If you don't mind a travel story, I can see people loving this. I think the writing was really good. I think the characters I liked our main character. I didn't actually love Julian that much. I don't know what it was. I think it just probably was the rest of the story just wasn't working for me. So I didn't feel any sort of connection between the two of them. I think he was fine as a character. I don't think I liked them as a romance necessarily. So I kind of am just like, whatever, I can take it or leave it. And that sentiment, unfortunately, is how I felt about most of the book. But if you like travel stories or they don't bother you, if you want to read a cool necromancy story, I definitely would try this out still. For me, it's a 3-star. A solid 3-star. But it leaves me in a predicament now of, do I continue this it's a duology. I don't even have that many books left. Do I feel like the need to move on? There were 2 pretty big reveals at the end of this book. One I actually really, really liked. One I wasn't as much of a fan of. They kind of were intertwined, but like, I guess, okay. There's like one major reveal, but it had a couple of intricacies in there, and then there's another reveal. Don't really care. This one was fine, whatever. I feel like it was pretty obvious. The other one, I love the main overarching reveal. The little part of it, other part of it, didn't like it as much. I know it's not gonna make sense. It might not even make sense if you've read the book. I don't know if that one reveal that I enjoyed is enough for me to want to continue. I definitely am not gonna buy the second book. I definitely was like, I was set up to buy the next book, get a Fairyloot edition. I was so excited. I'm gonna hold off on that because I don't know if the series is for me. And I also am a little nervous because this book does set us back up to go traveling back through the woods to the exact same place we just were. Like, exactly. Like, we traveled to this location, got to the location, a thing happens, we fast traveled back home, dealt with the revelations, dealt with the things, and now it has set us back up to go back to where we were in this book. And I'm just like, I feel like that just shows, I don't know, it just feels like, for me personally, it just feels like there's like a lack of imagination happening. I feel like with characters like this, a world built like this, you could have had so many cool things. You could have this whole story, like I wish we lived in this world, but it was rewritten so that we were living in the haunted territory. So like that's the big thing about this, is there's this giant area called the Breach, and this undead mass army rose from that, and it's in history it's been flung back and forth whose fault this breach was, and it was blamed on this group of people. And obviously it could be them, it couldn't be them, we don't exactly know for sure. We just know what we've been told by what the character knows. And so I just kind of wish she lived in like a border town. I think that would be so much more interesting, because I feel like for a book that is all about dealing with the dead, I feel like we didn't deal with the dead like that much. Like, I feel like we could have done so much more stuff with it than what we did do. And to be honest, I feel like our main girly, who is touted as this like phenomenal, amazing fighter, I feel like she wasn't that good of a fighter, which is again one of my other pet peeves. Like, I feel like she was fine. I don't think she was necessarily great at what she did, but I don't know. So there's a lot of nitpicking things with this. But I would recommend this. Like I said, I would 100% recommend this to people who are fine with travel stories and want some like necromancy stuff. I think this will scratch an itch if you're looking for that kind of stuff. For me, it was a miss, sadly. I probably will continue in the series, but it will be a library pickup. So let's talk about what we've read in this. If I have all the books, I don't know, they've kind of been scattered with me doing other things, but I do have 2 right here. Oh, the others might be behind me. Let's see. Let's just go with what I pick out. So right next to me, we did end up DNFing The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. This was definitely a situation of just kind of bored, and I really did not like the humor. It was not it for me. I am very picky, apparently. I didn't think I was. I'm apparently very picky about the humor that I enjoy in books, and this felt like a little bit of slapstick humor, some bodily function humor. And I really, really, really didn't like the main male character in this. So this was a DNF. This is the only one that we DNF'd under 50 pages, The Curse of Saints. I just don't think anything unique or interesting was happening in this, and I'm to the point in reading fantasy that if I can read the first 50 pages and be like, yeah, this is super generic, and then I do go and look at kind of what other people are saying and everyone kind of has the same idea, then I'm okay with DNFing it. I'm gonna get rid of this and not ever think about it ever again, because I just have so many other books that I'm much more excited about. So this kind of was just a casualty of, I have a lot of books and I read a lot of books and I don't have as much interest in this anymore. Okay, what are we gonna pull out from back here? Oh, the other book that we read. The other book that we read. So the only other book that we finished, this is Source of Small Magics. 3-star as well. Already forgetting everything that happened in this book, which is pretty much what I told you was going to happen, is I'm going to forget what happened in this one, which makes me think that I definitely should not continue. I think the magic system was fine. I don't think it actually made a lot of sense, especially in like a combat scenario. I just can't see it actually working and being useful in any way. And that was a big pet peeve of me in this one. And again, this is definitely more cozy fantasy, and a cozy fantasy that I don't enjoy. It also was a travel story. There was a lot of traveling in this and it felt like we got absolutely nothing done. So unfortunately, that is a 3-star. I do think I liked Bonesmith better than Sorcerer and Small Magics, but they still fall at about a 3 each. And next, this one's sad. Stardust Thief. This one really was just boring. I actually made it pretty far into this book. I made it pretty far into all of them. That's what I was trying to do. I was just kind of bored. I think it had a lot that was going for it, but it wasn't going anywhere. Again, this is another situation of I really, really liked the beginning, and then it hit the middle section, and it was just like, okay, come on. Oh, and I didn't like the male main character. I thought he was kind of annoying and really, really useless, and I don't like characters like that. So, fortunately, also DNF. How many more do I have? I think 2 more? Looks like 2 more. Yes. Oh god, we'll save the worst for last. The Night Ends in Fire. Again, I just kind of was bored. I feel like the worst thing you can do in a book is bore me, and I think I made it to over 100 pages in this one as well. If I am at 100 and something pages and you have yet to pique my attention and I am super reluctant to pick up a book, it's just not working for me. And that's kind of what happened with this one. I don't think it did anything. I don't think any of these did anything super egregious. Like, I don't think Undertaking of Heart and Mercy is bad either. It just had a lot of stuff I didn't like in it. This one's bad. this one is bad. I don't even remember what this one is about. I think I expunged it from my brain. Oh, I forgot that's how it started. Oh yeah, I forgot that's how it started. That was a crazy, I think I got like 50% into this book. I got so far before I was like, do it anymore. Oh yeah, the twist that made me quit. I forgot. Oh, that's so funny. This is one of those books that I'm gonna see it and be like, oh, what was that about? Why didn't I like it? And then the moment is gonna hit me where it's like, oh, that's what happened. That, like, along with it already being poorly written and poorly plotted and just kind of goofy, that moment is always gonna be like a what? And then I read the ending and it was like, thank God I DNF'd it. So yeah, this is the only egregious one. This is the only one that actually is like, this is bad. The rest, I would say, if you are interested in, I would give them a try. I think plenty of people are gonna like all these books. But A Fire in the Sky, maybe not. Maybe not. So anyway, finally, that is everything done for the very first episode of the Fairyloot Purge. It's been a while. It's been a while. We started this a whole year ago. It's funny because I actually have 2 books over there that I started the Purge in May. That's when my medical thing happened. So that's kind of one of the reasons everything got put off, and I just didn't want to go back to it. And every time I looked at the footage, it would make me sad. And that's why I ended up scrapping the original footage, because I actually got through 2 DNFs. Actually, no, I read a whole book and then I DNF'd the next one for the original episode 1 of the Fairyloot Purge, but I just didn't want to carry that negative energy into this video, which is hilarious saying that now. But I actually gave a 1-star to Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Didn't want to start the video with that. And then I did DNF The Girl with the Reflection, something like that. I can't see, it's like tucked under or something, but those were the original 2 in the first Fairyloot Purge. I just scrapped it. So you guys never saw that footage. Oh well. So I'm happy this ended up coming together when I really was worried that it never would. So a lot of pressure is off me now. I don't feel as bad like having taken so long. So I feel like the next video will probably come out just like significantly faster because it feels like a lot of pressure is pulled off. I'm going to be starting the next one like relatively soon as well, just so I have to give myself like a ton of time to do it. So if you have made it this far into the video, number one, thank you for sticking with me doing these purges. I know it's been a while since we did one of the book box ones, but we're gonna get to them. We're gonna get through it, and then after we're done with our book boxes, we're just gonna focus on genres and older books and least likely to read and stuff like that. We'll always have purge videos on this channel. They just will change a little bit because I won't have any book boxes to do, but I will always be reading book box books because of the book box series that we do. So pretty much we'll just transfer over to that. But like I said, thank you for being here. Also, if you have made it this far, my favorite was Bonesmith. So any type of bone, I think I just did something with skulls, but you know what? Do them again. Do them again. Anything with bones, because we did end up being okay with the Bonesmith. And other than that, I think that's all I got for you guys. So definitely make sure to comment down below what you thought about these, if you've read any of these, if you think I would like any of the Fairyloots that are on the shelf right now, because you guys saw the shelves a lot. You know what's on there by now. I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you subscribe so you miss any future content. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.